Hello, everybody. Welcome to something a little bit new. Now, this idea I have is definitely not original. I have seen a couple of people use it. Critical Drinker, notably, has used this kind of idea where he would attempt to restructure a movie and just fix it, in a sense, by maintaining the degree of certain certain story elements. Like keeping it same in theory, but just making it a lot entertainable. Well, I thought about trying something a little bit similar, albeit I don't think I can put myself to any limitations on this one. I think I'm going to go into full restructuring and remaking into what I think Black Widow should have been, with barely any restrictions to it. Now, I think the from what we got, Black Widow was not a good movie. I thought about doing a review, but that movie hurt me. So there's that. If you want to hear what my thoughts were on this, but yeah, the general idea of the movie was it was supposed to be a telling of Black Widow's origin, where she's come from, and all these different aspects. The Red Room. This little bit that we've kind of heard about, but never really, got to explore in such detail. Now, I want to focus on that. You know, I think that this should be a movie that this new version of this movie that I'm making, the Dream movie, it should be set right when Black Widow meets Hawkeye. I think that this, I think the general idea of this story should be that we see Natasha's history in the Red Room, interacting with, say, like the Red Guardian, and kind of like being in the background of certain things while like Moscow is trying to like create their own like heroes, their own people. You could say at this time perhaps that they finally managed to crack the formula on making a their own Captain America, and thus they have Red Guardian running around doing propaganda pieces in the Cold War. Have all that going on. Um, Now you have this bit where Black Widow is learning, training. She's being sent off on missions. Occasionally, she'll run into Alexei or whatnot, and then you give it a little passage of time, you have her even interact with the Winter Soldier, but very briefly, because I want the Winter Soldier to be like one of the main like threats. It's him and the Red Guardian. That's what I'm going for. And you bring in Hawkeye, because this is where you get the Budapest bit where they've met. They're there, and she's desperate to go and redeem herself for the actions she's done. You could have it to where she's been forced to do a mission where she's had to kill possibly maybe a child or somebody, something that really shocks her to her core and makes her want to like live. And when she encounters Hawkeye, she's trying not to hurt him, and she's even resigned to the fact that maybe I should die, but Hawkeye makes a different call, as Natasha says in the Avengers. Then you have this whole bit where Hawkeye and Natasha are basically on the run from Winter Soldier and Red Guardian. Like, they're running off all across like Eastern Europe and Russia to just try not to get hurt and hunted down like dogs. Like, you could even have it in like a certain element where the representation of like Red Guardian is more of like the official cop trying to like bring her in for justice. Meanwhile, Winter Soldier, who's under the control of the Red Room slash Hydra, is like a terrifying threat, because that's what I want him to be. Bring that like terrifying threat of the Winter Soldier, this cold, remorseless, ruthless killer that's only programmed for one thing: obey the command, and the command is hunt her down and kill her. And you could even have like moments where you could have like a flashback where she's interacted with the Winter Soldier, and she's just, perhaps maybe you could establish like that prior romance they've had, like the comics, and you could establish that she's just never really known, because since she's not given too much information, she doesn't know his name or anything like that. Make it a nice callback to, say, even in Civil War when they're doing that fight, and she's like, "You could at least recognize me." That would be a nice little touch. And I think like this, you have this whole cat and mouse bit where Hawkeye and Black Widow are trying not to get killed by Red Guardian and the Winter Soldier. They're running across, doing everything. There's action, intensity. The Winter Soldier is just a fierce, scary opponent, and we know can hold his own against people like Captain America. So it's just like, this adds that extra tension, because, you have two, essentially super soldiers going after two normal people, and they have to, like, do more than just be good fighters. They have to outwit them, they have to outmatch them in some ways. They have to even the odds. And you could even have this whole bit where they have a confrontation in Odessa where Black Widow said that she had encountered the Winter Soldier and was shot. And because she shows like the wound, the scars on her like torso, I believe it was. So you can have these bits where like the final battle, she's fighting the Red Guardian and she gets shot by the Winter Soldier, and maybe say like Hawkeye gets a shot off, disables the Winter Soldier, and since Natasha's wounded, he gets her out, and maybe they think that that the Red Guardian is dead, and since this is all in the past, like prior to all the other movies, she wouldn't know that he's dead, and would just think that anyone that's in the suit is just another fill-in, because that was kind of like the knowledge she knows. But then you have, at the end of this movie, like you do your post-credit scene, is like with the Winter Guardian, he's like recuperating, and not only that, he's like approached by, say, another member of the Red Room or whatnot. Maybe it's Yelena Belova, or maybe if you really wanted to connect it to the MCU shit that's going on, make it that Allegra Fontaine lady, the Madam Hydra chick, who's running around in Falcon or the Winter Soldier or whatever, and is like wanting to extend an offer to get him his payback, get payback for get payback on Hawkeye and Black Widow or something like that. And you establish the Winter Guard, maybe there's like giving Alexei files and saying like, hey, well, the Americans now have their heroes. What do we do now? It's like, well, we get our own Avengers, and Alexei's given like the list of candidates he has, and you can see on the corner of the file it says Winter, like the Project Winter Guard. Establish that, set up all this stuff. Like, keep this story in a more or less self-contained event that has elements of what we know of Natasha and her history that she's shown in the other movies. Like the fact that she's encountered the Winter Soldier before, she's been shot by the Winter Soldier before. Show us why she was so terrified of this man. Because in the Captain America Winter Soldier, when we have the scene of her getting shot by him, she's scared. She's terrified. Her face shows it, because this is not something she's used to, getting hurt like that. It's like, holy crap. And this is a person that terrifies her. And the only other time we ever see her scared like that is when she's around the Hulk. And so, yeah, it has to be a very scary individual to match that kind of intensity. So I want to show why she's so terrified of this scary, imposing, one metal-armed dude who just hunts her relentlessly, like, be the fucking boogeyman. And then you have, you know, like, the drama of the Red Guardian, you know, their connection, you know, because in the comics they have, like, an arranged sort of marriage thing going on, and while I think there were some elements where they did love each other in some bits, I think in a lot of different comics, it's always been, you know, a manipulation tactic on Natasha by Alexei to do more missions and stay true to the Red Room. Now I know I'm just kind of like rambling and just mouthing off shit, just wish fulfillment. But that's kind of what I want here. You know, this is just a wish fulfillment and what could have been, I think. I know that it's not really structured or anything. I'm just throwing out a general, like, idea, a general a concept, you know, not getting into the specifics because I'm not trying to make this video be too long here. But, you know, because it's like, there are specific elements I think could be ideal. Not only, like, have the final battle take place in Odessa where Natasha gets shot, and she and Hawkeye believe they supposedly killed the Red Guardian, have that kind of, like, moment of a climactic finish, and, like, you beaten the villain, and, you know, Winter Soldier's been disabled, whatnot. Then you have a post-credit scene of them bringing back the Red Guardian or something like that for future movies and whatnot. And then not also that, just like some flashbacks or maybe some montages to show like Natasha and the Winter Soldier interacting, her and the Red Guardian interacting. Maybe, I don't know, you could try some lovey thing, like how she's kind of like growing attachments to some of them. Maybe romance. I don't know if you could do that. Maybe. And then maybe you could even try that where she's like the romance thing. She kind of like almost tries that in a sense of a coping mechanism, perhaps. And you could even have it where Hawkeye like turns her down on that. It's like, hey, look, no, like, you're a very beautiful woman, but like this, I know you're just trying to cope with the pain. That's not going to help you. Plus, I am married. I'm married, and my wife's got some kids expected on the way. I don't want to do that, you know. And like, they could get a general respect for each other, you know, that respect of being close friends, because these two people love each other, but they're not in like a relationship. They are the bestest of friends. No, sure, perhaps maybe you could shift things around, and maybe they could be in a romantic liaison as they were in the comics. That's a possibility, you know. But I'm like kind of like trying to remain to some level of a degree to the MCU bits. But, you know, in this wish fulfillment thing, there are options to it, you know, especially when you throw out a lot. And the only things I've really kept from the original Black Widow movie is Natasha herself, getting the backstory, the Red Room, and literally that's about it. And I guess a setup with a character from Black Widow getting set up into future projects. Although instead of Yelena, it's Alexei, because I feel like Yelena could be something that's built up in, say, a Winter Guard movie, and then that could work, but that's clearly not what we've gotten, you know. And, yeah, I think that's kind of like just it in the general sense of what I wanted this movie to be. And, yeah, I that's just it. This was just my video of just making a little, like, what I would prefer the Black Widow movie to be, what I wish we could have gotten, but sadly we didn't. If you like these kind of videos, let me know in the comment section below, because I got plenty of ideas for other movies and other shows You know, so, and if you got a suggestion, go ahead and bring them up to me. I think that'll be it. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.